Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Creative Playground episode with me, Alicia Renice. I'm happy that you're here. Happy New Year. I don't think I've posted since the New Year has come, so happy 2021. I hope that this year brings you joy and rest and peace and just all the good stuff. 2020 was a hard year for a lot of people, for a lot of us. And I'm really hoping that in this new year, we're able to heal, able to, I don't know, just do more things. Do more things that bring us joy. So today we're going to talk about some things like we always do. The stuff was working earlier, so I hope it's working now so that we can actually make some art. But in the meantime, I want to talk about the fear of being seen and self-promotion. So I was having a conversation. We were having a conversation, me and my husband, with two of our really, really good friends. And, we were talking about the stuff that happened over the last year. And so let me know where you're from. Sorry. Thanks for watching and all that good stuff. So we were having a conversation about how 2020 was horrible, but also, I guess, beneficial in some ways. So last year, I put out 2 EPs, a couple of singles, and by the grace of God, I was able to be featured on Bandcamp's list twice for the month, like Best Soul of the Month. And then at the end of the year, they featured me on Bandcamp's Best Soul. And so I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm in there with people who are doing the things. And so I was like, okay, thanks. This is, okay, thank you. And so one of my friends, shout out to Kim, she told me, she was like, oh, well, she was like, how did you put out so much music? And to be honest with you, I was just putting out stuff that I enjoyed, stuff that I liked, stuff that made me feel good. But I was having, again, a conversation with 2 other friends that we have. And, I told them that I have the fear of promoting myself. I have the fear of sharing stuff with people. I have the fear of being seen. And so we had this conversation. I had this conversation with one of my other friends recently. But it's the fear of people seeing me that I have. And it doesn't make sense because you would think oh, you don't have the fear of being seen because you keep putting out projects, right? You keep doing stuff. Why would you keep putting out stuff if you're afraid of being seen? And to be honest with you, the producing the stuff is not the hard part for me. That's the fun part. The putting the stuff out there and marketing it, that's a whole other story. I don't like saying, hey, like my stuff. Hey, I did this thing. Will you look at it? Will you watch it? Usually when I post it, I just post it and run. On Instagram, I post it and run. And so a lot of people were kind of confused, how are you afraid of putting stuff out there if you keep putting stuff out there, right? And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about the fear of self-promotion, the fear of being seen and all that good stuff. And let me know if you can see it. This is what we're going to be editing. So it's a picture of me because, again, I just thought it went along with the whole theme of not liking being seen. All right. So even right now, I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous. Whenever I post, I always post on YouTube because not a lot of people follow me there. I don't have a bunch of followers on YouTube, right? The place that I'm afraid of posting is on Facebook. On Facebook, I got my aunties, I got my mommy, I got, friends that I really care about, people there. And not saying I don't care about people who watch me on YouTube. It's just that these are people I'm in intimate relationship with on Facebook. And so for me, it was easier to post on YouTube because I'm like, oh, well, if people don't like it, people don't watch it. It's not really a loss. It's not really, it's not really going to hurt my feelings. If strangers don't like it, then it's kind of okay, well, I wouldn't know what they thought about my stuff if they never watched my stuff, right? The worst that people can do to me on YouTube is leave a thumbs down or say something rude or out the way. But for the most part on Facebook, your friends are comprised of people you care about, people you're in a relationship with, people that know you and that have seen you in many, in different facets of your life. So on Facebook, I have friends from elementary school. I have friends from middle school. Again, like I said, family, stuff like that. And so for me, posting on Facebook was just a no-go. I was not going to do that because I'm well, I don't want them to see me. I don't want them. I know it doesn't make any sense, right? Because the people that I'm friends with, they don't make me feel like trash. I don't know. They don't make me feel like I'm not worthy. Like none of that. Like usually the people that I'm friends with on Facebook, they're supportive for the most part. But I feel like when I share my art and things like that, it's like it's a more intimate experience. It's a more okay, yay. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. That's my husband. It's a more intimate experience. Like on Facebook, again, like I said, because it is the aunties and stuff like that, these are people I have to see at Thanksgiving dinner, at Christmas. Like, these are people that actually care about me. And so it's really difficult for me to post stuff or to share stuff in front of people who care about me, which kind of doesn't make sense, but I get it, right? Like, I don't want, and of course the stuff wants to, okay, here we go. So, like, I don't want to be disowned by my family. You know, I don't want to be disowned by my friends. When I post something, their words cut deeper than any strangers can. And I think for me, that's why I'm afraid of posting on places where people know me. Like, I'm afraid of, like, me performing in front of like 100 people I don't know. Sure, it's fine. I get nervous. Like, I still get nervous, right? But at the same time, this is hard, trying to draw my own face. But at the same time, like, I probably never ever see these people again. Like, the shame only lasts, what, like 5 minutes or however long I'll be performing, right? Like, for example, I did a Raw Arts, I don't know if y'all heard of it, Raw Arts performance in DC, and it was at Howard Theater. And there were a lot of people there. There are a lot of people there that are like talking over you. And basically, like, they're there to see art, they're there to support their friends. And so for a lot of artists, they just weren't paying attention to us. Like, they just weren't paying attention to us. And so you have to learn how to, you know, kind of command the room. For all my folks out there, you have to learn how to command the room and really be like, hey, I'm someone worth paying attention to. And so for me, I'm just not interested in like begging people to pay attention to me. But I understand that as an artist who performs, that's a part of my job. Like, I have to not make you, because I can't make anybody do anything, but I have to convince you that what I'm doing is worth your time. And time is precious, right? Energy is precious. Attention is precious. And so for me, like, again, at these venues, like when the people are talking over me and like, I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm Alicia. I'm from da-da-da-da. They're like, we don't care. We don't know you. And so there are a few people who are interested, to be fair. But at the same time, like, there weren't a lot of people who were interested in me. Like, they were there supporting other people or other headliners and stuff like that. So, you know, stuff like that will really humble you. But at the same time, I wasn't offended. Like, I wasn't mad that people were talking over me. I knew that there were other artists. Just again, the Raw showcase is like people performing, but also they have vendors who come and sell their own art. And so it's a really cool experience. So people are there talking to the other artists and stuff like that. So they don't mean any harm when they're talking over you sometimes. But the other times it's just like, we just don't want to hear your music. So that, I would rather do that. I'm just going to be honest. I'd rather talk, like, sing in front of people who aren't paying me any attention, right? Into all these strangers and all this other stuff, than sing in front of my own family. I would much rather. And it's not anything against my family. Like, they don't, again, they're some of my best supporters. Like, they're the ones coming to the shows. They're the ones buying the EPs. They're the ones doing the stuff. And yet I'm still like, I don't know. Like, my mother will do stuff like this. Like, I have performances and she'll invite the whole family. And I'm just like, girl, I was not prepared. And I won't know until the night of. And so I guess that's best, because if I knew that, then I'd be stressing out. But the night of, I look into the audience and I'm like, when did Aunt Jackie get here? Right? Like, what is going on? But, you know, I guess, I don't know. It's my own thing. It's my own fear. It's nothing that they reinforced in me to make me feel afraid. Because like I said, no one's coming all the way from Pennsylvania to come see me if they didn't like me. Like, my Auntie Jackie's not going to waste her time or her gas coming to see me. But there's something in my mind that's like, no, you can't share this. You can't share this thing. And it's fear, right? And I'm trying to figure out what the fear is. Like, I feel like I know that fear is well-wishing, right? Fear wants to protect us. Fear wants to save us embarrassment. It wants to have us survive. Like, and so, when you think about death, like everybody thinks about like, passing away. But at the same time, you don't want to die socially. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to not belong. Like, you want to belong to a group of people. And so I think for me, like, my fear was trying to tell me, like, hey, if you go out here and do this, you might embarrass yourself and people will never forget. They will never forgive you for this. They're going to waste their time and all this other stuff. And so I just don't post it because it's like, I don't want to deal with people judging me. I don't want to deal with people judging me. And so because of that fear, I tend to not market my stuff. I tend to, like, again, it's the grace of God that my music got picked up by Bandcamp. I still don't understand it. I don't understand it because, again, I'm not promoting myself. Like, I'm, as much as I should be, I'm not promoting myself. When I collab with other people, I don't share it because I don't know, like, it's the fear. And the fear grips me and it stops me from doing the good stuff, But again, fear's well-wishing. I'm not going to, like, make the fear the enemy. But at the same time, like, my own thoughts are the enemy. My own thoughts are the enemy. And so, again, like, these thoughts don't just come out the air, right? I don't believe that, our fears, I feel like our fear makes sense because of things that we've experienced in life. And there have been situations where people have clowned my music and people have, like, made fun of me or whatever. When I was in elementary school, me and my friends put together a girl group, like Destiny's Child. Like, I was obsessed with Destiny's Child when I was younger. So we put together a girl group. And I would write songs and I'd be like, no, we got to practice this performance. This is like in elementary school, like on the playground. And so, I think from that experience, I feel like I was the one taking it really serious. I'm like, no, we need to get picked up. We need to be famous. And, my friends, God bless them, they went along with me. But at the same time, like, I knew that there was some sort of feeling of rejection. Like, they weren't going to reject me, but like even the idea of performing and making music, it felt like rejection. It felt like, oh, they don't want to play with me anymore. They're not interested in, they're not interested in doing the stuff. So I think from then on, I just kind of kept my music secret. Like, I would write songs in my mom's bedroom. Like, they would have like this Casio machine or this Casio keyboard, and I would write songs in there. I wouldn't share it with anybody. I couldn't read music, but they had like this, what do you call it? Like this songbook where you would go in and like, oh, play the chord D and da-da-da-da. I didn't know none of that. So I would take the lyrics from the songs and make my own melodies from the music. Like, it was fun for me, but I never showed it with anybody. I never shared it. Like, I would share with my parents after a while, because after a while they're like, what are you doing in there? Like, let me see what you're making. And, I think just parents are just curious. But I think for me, I felt exposed. I felt like, oh no, like they're gonna discover my secrets. You know what I'm saying? And then also, when you're found out, when people discover like, oh, you sing, right? First of all, my eyebrows do not look like this. Like, I have very thin eyebrows, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. But when they're like, oh, you sing, you do this, it's kind of like they have this expectation on you. Now there's an expectation. Now they want you to sing at every family get together. Now they want you to like keep putting out music, right? Like, you become a singer or whatever it is that you do. Like, if you're an artist, like, you become the artist, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like sometimes it can feel like there's this pressure put on you to like always have to perform, to always have to be good. Like, if my fear in somebody liking my music is me putting out more music and then them saying like, oh, she fell off, I hate this. That's one of my deepest fears. Like I said, even these lives that I'm doing now, like, I didn't post them to Facebook. I didn't, because I didn't want anybody to know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna secretly make these things. And I want to be clear, it's okay for you to have secret like hobbies. Like, you don't have to share everything that you're doing. But I know for me, I was hiding. And I feel like that was the problem. And my husband will tell you this. Like, I hide all the time. I'm just like, no, please. Like, God, I can't take it. I can't take it. When I was younger, I was really, really shy. And anywhere my mom went, oh, yay. I'm seeing comments. I'm sorry. Hi. Thanks for being here. I'm watching from Los Angeles. Yay. Welcome. Right. What time is it there? It is 4:45. Thank you for being here. Yeah, the expectation can be a killer. Yeah, I agree. And versus escape. I rarely catch live events, so I'm glad I caught this as well. Yay, I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for being here and listening to my stories and rambling. I appreciate y'all. What was I saying? Yes, when I was a child, I was very, very, very shy. I don't know why. Like, again, like my dad was in the military, so we would be on the base, and I feel like the only people, my world was for a long time just my mom, because my dad would be away at sea. And so anybody else who tried to come into this little bubble, like, I don't know you, I'm not talking to you. You know, like, that's what it was. And so when my dad would come back there, my mom told me when I was younger, like, he came back and I didn't know who he was. And I'm sure that was devastating for him, because it's like, my child doesn't know me. But yeah, like, I didn't really do too much. I wasn't one of the kids who was, you know, I think I was weird, but like, I was really weird. But I didn't want to go too far from my mom, from the safe place. And I feel like that shyness, if that's a word, followed me. Now as an artist, like, I don't want anybody, like, no, if you see me, talk to me, please. Cause I got to come out of that. Like, this fear don't make no sense, right? Like, no one's going to hurt me. No one's going to harm me for the most part. Like, people don't have bad intentions. But at the same time, my fear is like, they're going to see me and they're going to find out that I'm not good, that they're going to find out. And I guess it's like imposter syndrome, right? This fear of being seen, but also there's this fear of not being what people expect you to be. This fear of like, I don't know, like, maybe I'm not as good as what people think. Like, when Bandcamp put me on their list for the thing, I'm like, oh no, like, oh God, like, what if I'm not good, right? Because we all know, like, with compliments come trolls too. And to be totally honest, I'm very sensitive. I'm very, very, very sensitive. And I know people talk about like building a tough skin. I don't even know if that's a thing, but like, I really care about what people feel about, especially my art, like something I put time and energy and had fun with. And I'm just not used to being criticized. I think that's it. I'm not used to everybody putting their mouth on stuff. Like, I feel like we live in this culture where like everybody thinks their opinion is important, or they feel like their opinion is, I don't know if it's helpful or like, I'm just gonna say important, because, you know, yes, everybody has something to say. Everybody has something to say, but I feel like sometimes what we have to say is really not important. Like, when you look at places like YouTube, right? You look at YouTube and it's like people leaving all these thumbs downs and like, oh, your music sucks. You know, you suck. You're a horrible human being. It's like, first of all, you don't know me, right? But these people really believe in their minds that what they're saying holds more weight than what this person believes about themselves, or holds more weight than what these people's loved ones think about them. And for a lot of people, that's enough to just like stop you in your tracks and be like, I'm not doing this no more. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do it. And there have been times where I'm just like, okay, what? Like, the feeling of rejection is not fun. Everybody has been rejected at some point in life. And when you're rejected by people you love, by people you care about, it stings. It stings really, really bad. And so I think sometimes what we're trying to do is like put off that rejection before it comes. But in the meantime, while doing that, right, like you miss opportunities to actually grow and to do something you actually enjoy. Y'all, I don't know how much of this I'm going to get done, but we're going to try. And I'm going to try to make it look like myself. Or not. Or we can just have fun. But anyway, so like, you want to prevent rejection before it even happens, right? Like, when you label yourself an artist, when you tell people, hey, I make things, again, they're going to have this expectation based on whatever experiences they've had with artistry, right? So it might not even make sense, but like, for some people, if you tell them you're an artist, if you're not making millions of dollars, then you need to stop, hang it up and put it away and never do that thing again. But for some people, it's like, oh, if you're asking for money from your art, then you're not being a real artist, a true, authentic artist. Like, you're you're selling out and all this other stuff, right? Like you can't please everybody. And so what I've learned is people form their own opinions based on their own experiences, not based on the truth of who you are or what you do. But really we hold ourselves in such captivity trying to please these peoples with all these varying experiences and varying opinions. And we allow that to stop us from actually creating. You know what I'm saying? Hi from Texas, or hi from Maryland to Texas. And that's how I feel about poetry. Yes. Like, you feel me. Kristen says, I love how you share and how open you are. My mom shared the adventures of Fox and Miles. Oh, yay. So if you don't know, me and my husband have this vlog where we post about like traveling in our RV. And so it's called The Adventures of Fox and Miles if you want to check it out. I immediately connected with you and your voice and your expression. I found your music from that page. Oh, yay. Thank you for checking that out. And thank you. Thanks for being here again. So we're basing our whole life and our whole like worth and all of our worth and things like that on people's experiences and their own opinions formed around the thing that you do. And so, again, like I said, rejection is not fun. I don't care what people say. People say like, oh, I don't care. And da-da-da. I think we're created to care. I think it's okay to care, right? I think it's okay to care what people think about you. I think the problem arises when, like, it's unrealistic to me to be a social people to not care what other people think. Like, we're social creatures. We want to belong somewhere. And so rejection from anywhere sucks. Like, rejection is hard. And, again, I feel like we stop putting ourselves out there because we're anticipating what people have to say, what people are going to think about what I'm doing. We're anticipating the worst case scenario, right? When in reality, most people don't care about you. Most people don't care. So if they don't like you, they're either not going to pay attention. They might troll you. They might leave a thumbs down. They might, or whatever a rejection is, they might leave a comment that's hateful or hurtful. But for the most part, people who don't care won't comment. The people who feel empowered to kind of just tear people down, I question them. Like, when I think about stuff, I don't leave reviews for places unless like it's a horrible experience or an amazing experience, right? So maybe something I created triggered something in them. That's another thing too that I want to say, kind of all over the place, but here we go. I feel like some people are triggered when you share something because they want to share something too, but they're not courageous enough to do it. And then they don't even realize how much courage it took for you to post that thing or to share that thing or to put that thing out there to exist, right? So like, they think it's like, oh, it's just so easy and whatever. And so because they feel somehow threatened by what you're doing, they kind of look at themselves and say, oh, well, she's really not like, okay, personally, like sometimes people, let me finish this thought. I feel like sometimes people look down on other people because they're not doing the thing they're supposed to do. If you're doing the thing you're supposed to do, you wouldn't have time to criticize people like how horribly people criticize other people. You wouldn't have time to tear down other people. You'd be doing your thing, right? And you could also, even if it's not your cup of tea, even if you don't like it, you could still honor the creative process in somebody else without tearing them down. Like, when people get up and sing on open mic nights, like some people like, oh, boo, they sucked, whatever. It took courage to get up on that stage in front of people they don't know, to share their gift, to share what they want to share with people, right? I'm not going to knock it. I don't care how I feel about how they sang. I don't care about the song. I'm clapping for them every single time because I, as a fellow creative, know how hard that is. Like, I know how difficult that is. And you never know, like, people have bad nights. Like, people have, people are afraid. When I'm afraid, I can't breathe, right? So when I'm singing, I might go flat, I might be sharp because I'm scared, right? Or I just might not be able to hear myself. Who knows? Like, there's a bunch of reasons why people don't perform at their like optimal level, right? I'm going on a tangent, but either way, like my whole point is people who are doing their own things usually don't have that acid to throw on other people, right? But it's people who feel like they're not doing the thing that they need to do, that they might be threatened by what you're doing. And I've come to know that's true. And it doesn't make any sense because you're like, girl, I'm struggling too. Or boy, I'm struggling too, right? But no, like for some people, no matter what you do, it'll never be enough. It'll never be good enough. It'll never be, enough. And it's like, am I going to stop living my life? Am I going to stop living my life to try to please these people? Or am I going to keep creating so hopefully eventually they'll be inspired to create their own thing so they don't have to look at mine no more? Like, again, when I'm on YouTube and stuff, I don't leave thumbs down. I just go on to the next video if I don't like it. It's not a big deal. Like, okay, this wasn't for me. Next, you know what I'm saying? Like, but people who take the time to like, unless like it's something really offensive, then I'm like, what the heck is this? Right? But for the most part, I'm not really interested in wasting my time on stuff I don't like. And so that's why I'm kind of convinced that some people, not all people, who heavily criticize other people are going through their own stuff. Like, your criticisms have nothing to do with me. Have nothing to do with me. Is my lip that color? They have nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. Like I said, y'all, we're going to have some fun and try and play. So it's like, how do we get over this fear of being seen, right? I'm still working through it myself. I don't have all the answers. I just have my own experiences. Jay says, I got you. It's like they express their envy through negative comments or behavior. There are definitely folks like that out there. There are. And I feel sorry for them because I'm like, do your stuff. Create your own thing. Like, be you, And yes, agreed. So again, I'm doing all this. First of all, this is this is what you're really supposed to see, but that's fine. But either way, like, so you're going to get criticism. That's the thing. Like, criticism is going to exist. And what happens, it seems like, to other artists who become like, I think one of my fears was that by people finding me out, like, now here come the negative Nancys, right? Here come the people that are going to criticize me. Here are the people that are going to, say these mean and be like, she's really not that good for whatever reason is their reason, right? And like, I didn't want to be found out. And I feel like that's the experience of people going viral sometimes. Not that I went viral or anything, but like, they garner a lot of criticism just because they're doing their thing, which is like, what? Like, they're like, I wasn't prepared for all of this, right? Like, I literally just wanted to make my art. I really just wanted to put it out there. And now I'm getting hate messages from people, which is like, what? And so for me, I knew that there were going to be negative things coming. I knew that, sadly, even some of the friends I had, like, kind of went away, which was like, okay, what's with that? Like, I thought you were... It's weird because these are people who champion you. These are people who say, like, I really like your stuff. I'm so proud of what you're doing, But then, like, when it comes time to actually, I don't know, do the thing, they're just kind of not there no more. I don't know. It's weird. But for me, what's been helping me get over my fear of being seen is just putting myself out there. Allowing myself to hit the worst case scenario, right? So if my fear is, I don't know, of being seen as like, oh God, people are going to find me out, like, whatever, right? Then I put out more music. It's like, I'm not a therapist at all, but I know there's something, I don't know if that's the right word for it, like exposure therapy, where people just kind of like, oh, if you're afraid of frogs, we're going to take you to a pond where you can see frogs. I don't know. I don't even know if that's healthy, to be honest. But there's a thing where people do stuff like that. It's like, okay, if I'm afraid, I need to conquer this fear. And so for me, the only way to conquer the fear is by doing the things. The only way for me to get over this need to be perfect is to do stuff imperfectly and to just be like, this is an experiment, and to allow myself to have fun. The way I get over the fear of, public performance, right, is doing lives like this on YouTube and Facebook with people who follow me so that I don't feel, I don't know, like I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm trying to gain like these small wins. I'm trying to be like, okay, you're afraid of this, but you went live last week. Like, you didn't die. What's the problem? What's the issue, right? If you don't get on that thing and go live and do what you would do in the privacy of your own home anyway, like, I do stuff like this for fun. You know what I mean? And so, like, having these talks with people really makes me feel like less alone. Like, when you all show up here and you're talking to me, like, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who's going through this. And I hope that you feel the same way, because you're not, okay? You're not the only one going through this. You're not the only one who feels like, you know, they're not good enough, or like they're crazy for feeling how they feel. Okay, let's try it. We're gonna try to draw this hair. But no, like you're not. Like I feel like it's an experience that every artist or every person who creates or maybe has dreams or starts movements, like everybody faces. Yikes, I think I went too far in my head. Whatever. But everybody faces at some point. It's like, and I feel for the people who want to share their journeys, like, hey, I'm on a weight loss journey, or hey, I'm trying to start a business or whatever. Sadly, it seems like nobody supports other people until like they've made it. It's weird. Like it's this weird thing. Like you hear other rappers talk about how like the city they're from, the people didn't like them until they made it. Like until they, until they hit it big, or until they got rich or famous or whatever it is, right? But I feel like we have to start like believing it before other people do. Like believing that you're enough right now, like not in the future when you are rich and famous, not when I hit their version of what they think success is, right? Like today, I am enough. Like I am an artist. And even saying like I'm an artist is like, ooh, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And again, what that means depends on who's asking. It depends on who was in the conversation at the time. Like it depends on their, like I said, their upbringing, their experiences. Let's see. A little brown. So, don't worry, y'all. We're getting somewhere. See, look at the progress. Look at this. At first, it was looking kind of crazy. It still kind of is, but all right. So yeah, so it's based on their experience. And so when you own the title, like again, no matter what you mean, you could say you're a poet, right? You could be you're a poet before you publish a book. You're a poet before the act of writing poetry makes you a poet, whether other people read it or not. You're a poet, right? But for other people, they're going to determine, I don't know, is this person a poet? Like, like not they have to talk like that, but they're going to decide for themselves whether or not you are. And I feel like as artists, as creative people, we have to own that stuff before other people do. Because we can't allow, sadly, if we're living on people's, there's this quote that says, if we're living on people's praise, then we'll die from their rejection or something like that. And similarly, like, I don't want to live the rest of my life trying to please other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, one, if my art is not for you, it's not for you. If my talking here is not for you, that's okay too, right? But like, I don't want that to stop me from doing what God put me to do here. The people I'm supposed to impact, I will. The people you're supposed to impact, you will. They'll be there. Is this even doing it? Yes. Like, the people that's for you is for you. Your people are your people. And, just like with your friends, like there are people you just click with. There are people you just resonate with because it's like, they get me. They're my people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be out here being friends with everybody. One, I don't have the capacity, right? Like too much, like it's too much. But at the same time, like and second, I'm just not for everybody. And I know that people use that kind of in a toxic way. Like some people say like, oh, they don't like me because I'm not for everybody. No, you're just mean. Like there's a difference between not being for everybody and just being outright cruel, right? But at the same time, there are people that, I feel like I'm okay with, but like intimate relationships, it just wouldn't work out, because my belief system might be different than theirs. They might like different music than I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's nothing personal. Like, it's not like an outright rejection. It's just like, oh, you're cool, but from afar. I feel like it's the same thing for artists. There's some music that I can honor and be like, yo, that's amazing. I love the message, but it's just not my cup of tea. And it's no slight to the other artists. It's just like, just not for me. It's just not for me. My husband, I'll play music for him and I'll be like, do you feel that? Do you feel it? It feels amazing. And he's like, I don't feel it. And he's not like saying like, oh, the song is trash. He's just saying like, oh, it's a cool song, but I don't feel it as deeply as you do. And that's okay. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. So again, how do I overcome the fear? How do I overcome the fear? By putting myself out there in situations like these. By, you know, having fun, being myself. Ooh, now I ain't got no gray hair. Not yet. I do have a gray though. There is a gray in my head where I'm like, oh, hello, welcome. No. What is the perfect color? That's the thing about hair. Like, you try to get the perfect color for hair, it's not going to happen because hair is just interesting. But either way. But yes, I think it's important that we do put ourselves out there. Even if people are going to slap us in the face. Like, there are people who I'm not friends with anymore who told me on their way out of my life, was like, your music's trash. I'm just like, thanks. And it was really mean to me because, one, this person knew like how sensitive I was about my music anyway, or how I was trying to come out of my shell and be more courageous and more brave. But at the same time, it's like I look back on that moment now, even though it kind of, slightly stings. It's like they were going through their own stuff anyway. And not that we should be like, oh, you don't like my stuff, you're going through something. That's not what I mean at all. I'm just saying that, like, again, the reasons for people not liking your stuff, there could be a million reasons. And it's not personal. Like, it feels personal because we personally made it. But in real life, it's just not personal. Like, it's not. Like, it's not. I'm checking on the comments. See if anybody's saying anything. Hi, Keela. Thanks for being here. Exposure therapy. Yes. People never want to see people successful. Sadly, that seems to be the case. But you just got to find friends that actually love you and care about you, like, beyond what you create, right? So people who don't just see you as an artist or a poet or whatever it is, whatever your craft is, you have to find people who, if you never made anything ever again, who would still love you. And I feel like for me, it took work to find those people, but I found those people. And those people ground me and be like, you're stop killing yourself in your head. You're good enough. And what you make does not make you worthy, right? You're worthy because you are. And I love you for all parts of who you are, not just what you create, what you make for me, So, yes, my mom says you just have to do it afraid. Exactly. You have to do it afraid. Like, there's no way to beat fear. I really don't believe that. I really don't believe you ever stop being afraid. I feel like you start to create in spite of your fear, right? Like, you work through your fear. And the only way through is through. I know that sounds kind of redundant, but like, the only way, people want to be like, well, how do I get over fear? I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. Like, your fear could be from trauma. It could be from, someone rejecting you again. It could really be irrational. Like, nothing has ever happened and yet you're still afraid. I'm talking like from an artist standpoint. Like, I know that there are people who struggle with fear and they have to seek counseling and stuff like that for that. Like, go to counseling for sure. But I feel like we as artists have to do the work of, in spite of being afraid, still showing up and doing the thing. And I feel like we have to manage our expectations, right? If I expect, not that I should be expecting the worst, but if I expect the worst, right, then either that's going to be confirmed, right, or people are going to surprise me when they like the thing. And so, not that I recommend you lowering your expectations, but I feel like it's really important in order to protect your heart, like, to be like, okay, first of all, do I like it? Is this something I like? Is this something I enjoy? Do I enjoy the process? Like, if nobody ever bought whatever I'm doing, would I be okay? You know what I'm saying? Would I be good? And I think for me, I got to the point where I'm just like, I like the music I'm making and it makes me feel good to make it. And so I'm going to share it, and whoever listens to it. But I have to improve my marketing. I have to and marketing sounds like such a yuck word, like marketing. It's like, no, like, my marketing could literally just be me saying, hey, I wrote this song and I hope you like it. Like, my husband might disagree, but hey, I hope you like this song, and that be enough. But I don't even do that. So one of my words for this year, because I'm kind of like, I love New Year's. New Year's. And I say New Year's with an S, drag me. It's fine. But one thing I love about New Year is that, or the New Year, is the fresh start and like clarity and like, okay, it's like a fresh page in a notebook. It's like, what do I want to do this year? How do I want to feel at the end of the year? What would make me feel like, Alicia, you did that, And I'm not talking about metrics. I don't use like, I need to, if I get, 35 subscribers, I'll feel good about myself. No, I mean like, at what point will I look at the work I put out and be like, that was good enough, right? And so for me, the word for 2021 is create. I just want to make stuff. I just want to have fun. I want to make stuff for you. Oh, I should say, I want to do this project where I create art for people. So in exchange for their stories or their input, I'm going to make art for them. I'm really excited. I started it last year, but like I think I was too focused on making money, just be honest, because you got to make money to eat. I was too worried about making money that I wasn't able to carry out these projects like I really wanted to. And so what I want to do is have people send me their stories or questions or like things they're going through. And I want to make art for them and make art to share with other people. So that's my word for 2021. But a kind of like subword is audacity. And maybe even, there's no word I can find unless y'all can tell me one, that means like to be seen. Like revealing, but that's not really what I'm going for. Not revealing, but just like standing strong in who I am, allowing that to be okay. With all my strengths and flaws and all that good stuff, right? Like not allowing those flaws and stuff to stop me from actually doing the thing, but also just being seen. Like I'll put together an event and I'll be upset that nobody came, but I didn't market it. I didn't tell anybody about it, right? I'm good for that. Like I'm so good for that. And it's like, well, how many, like me and my husband recently had a conversation like that. And I'm like, no one's going to come. No one's responding. No one's whatever. Like maybe it doesn't matter. And he's like, how many people did you tell? And I'm like, well, I posted it on Instagram. I told my friends. And he's like, that's not enough. Like you can't, if you told no one about your event, you have to expect that no one's going to come. Like you have to expect that no one is going to show up. And so for me, again, I have an event coming up that I'm planning. And my fear around this event is that people are going to show up and I'm going to have nothing to say. Like when I do these lives, every time I go live, right before y'all, like my husband is talking me into going live because I'm afraid that I'm going to show up here. I'm going to sound silly. What I'm saying is not going to make any sense. I'm going to spit on myself. The stuff is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to stutter. Like I'm going to sound crazy. People are going to leave me in comments, like all this stuff. And it's like, is their opinion more valuable than what you want to make? And I feel like he asked me that recently. And I'm like, no. Is all the negative stuff that could happen worth me not putting what I want to put out there? And I'm like, no. No, because when I don't create, I feel it. Like I feel it. And I think also one of my fears is like looking conceited, even though it's like, I know I'm not conceited. Like I'm self-deprecating. I mean, and that can be, geared towards pride too, just being honest. That's a thing. But at the same time, my gears are not towards like, I'm the best thing walking. I'm the exact opposite. My first thought about myself is like, oh girl, like even looking at this picture, just being honest with y'all, I'm looking at this picture like, oh God, why did I choose to do this picture? You can see my pores and all that good stuff that nobody is paying attention to, that no one cares about, right? But because I'm my own like worst critic, what's happening here? What's going on, friend? Because I'm my own worst critic, like that's what's ringing loudest in my ear. And so, like my word again, my word for 2021 is create, but also be brave enough. These are words. Be brave enough to be seen. Be courageous enough to be seen. Like, what is the worst thing that could happen if you're seen? Like, what? I can't manage other people's expectations. I can't change what people expect me to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. That's not my job. My job isn't to make people like my stuff. Right? My job is to be myself. My job is to create the way I want to create. My job is to show up and to do the thing. Like, that's my job. What happens beyond there is honestly in God's hands. Like, marketing, yes. But like beyond that is in God's hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I couldn't market myself into the Bandcamp playlist. There's no way. There's no way. Like, I wouldn't even expect, when I put out that project, I was like, are people even going to buy it? That was my first thought, right? Are people going to support it? Are people going to listen to it? It was free. So, you know, if you want to check it out, you still can. I think the description is in the link wherever you're watching from. But it was a free project. Two free projects. I think all of my projects except one is free. So I'm just like, are people going to listen to it? So I wasn't even worried about the money. But at the same time, like a month later, my friend, Ade, I call Pickles, she messaged me and was like, hey, you're featured in Bandcamp. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so I log on, and wouldn't you know it, they're like the best soul of January. And I'm like, huh? Like, are y'all sure? Y'all sure y'all got the right person? Because, you know, I didn't think it was all that great to be considered great to them. And so, oh, yay. I'm going to spit on myself. I'm saying, when you're talking, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, I could be talking and a booger falls out my nose. You know what I mean? Like, anything could happen. Especially when you're live, there's no going back and editing it. It is what it is. Is their opinion more valuable than what you want to make? Very good litmus test. I agree. And thank you for being here. I agree. And I really had to say to myself, no, like, it's not. It's not. He's a good one. Proverbs 32. He is a good one. Hi. And hi. Destiny says, you are the furthest from conceited. You stay giving proper to others, honey. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, word of the year. Yes. I'm trying to be intentional. I'm trying. Kristen says, but you always are so insightful. I have been encouraged. Sorry, y'all. I can't read. I have my glasses on, so it's hard to see. I have been encouraged, uplifted, and inspired by you. So know that you have impacted me. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me. And like, again, if I allowed my fears to stop me from doing stuff, then like, I wouldn't be here talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Marcus says yuck. Hi, Marcus. And yes, yuck. But yeah, so again, what I'm trying to say is, I feel like I've been saying it, is like the fear of being seen is real, but like the fear of not doing what you were put here to do, I feel like is worse. I feel like that's worse. Like, or the missing out of you playing your part. Because at the end of the day, like these trolls, these people who have negative things to say, they're not going to be there 5 years from now when you're like, dang, I wish I still created. I wish I still, you know, made my stuff. Why do we give them so much power? It's crazy. It's crazy, but it makes sense. We all want to be liked. We all want to be loved. We all want to belong. And again, I feel like this culture, I know I sound like I'm like 85, but like these kids today, they're ruthless. You know what I'm saying? They're so quick to judge someone and to give someone worth as if you have the power to assign someone worth or not, and you don't, right? Like, it's so sad. But either way, I know that fear. I know that fear of being seen. I know that fear of being found out that you're not good, that like all the stuff you did has been a hoax. That one day people are going to be like, you know what? You're not as good as what they say you are. And that was my fear. Again, with being featured, is like, oh God, people are really going to listen to it now and really going to determine for themselves if I was good enough to be featured in that article. Yeah, we just playing around here. We're going to see what we're going to get. And so for me, while I was on one hand, I was so excited. I was so happy to be celebrated and so honored and humbled that they would even choose my project to feature, right? But on the other hand, I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like waiting for people to, like when I posted it, first of all, I didn't even post it the first time. Maybe I did. But when I posted it, people were like, oh my God, congratulations, it's well deserved. And like, you know, I wish I believed that. I wish I believed that because I would have enjoyed the moment better. I would have been able to be present in it. And then there's always this kind of like fall off where it's like, now I have to do something to top that, right? So now you're competing with yourself. But I had to like quickly be like, okay, no. You didn't make this music to compete with anybody. You didn't make this music to compete with yourself. I don't know how my chin's gonna look, y'all, but we're gonna see. I didn't make this music to compete with myself. I didn't want to make something that was so freeing bondage, right? Like I didn't want to make my art make me feel bad about myself. And so I just kept creating stuff that I liked. And I kept getting featured. And I'm just like, yo, thank you, God. Like, you're so amazing, right? But again, letting go of that fear of being found is hard. It's so hard. Yo, I feel like I'm doing too much to my face. Okay. It's a lot, but there are a lot of shadows in this picture. My skin don't match. But I feel like that's what farmers tans? Farmers, whatever it is. Anyway. But yeah, I wanted to be more in the moment and more able to accept the praise that I was getting. But I wasn't. Oh, thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. But I couldn't be present because I was like, oh God, will I ever create something good again? This is actually good because my husband surprised me with tickets to PJ Morton's concert. It was virtual, and we got to have a Q&A with him. First of all, it's amazing. If you haven't heard of PJ Morton, please check him out. He's amazing. I love his music. And we got to talk to him, and we talked about the Project Gumbo. And he was saying that for him, Gumbo was getting all these accolades, and it was just like, yes, this is a great album, and all this stuff. But what he didn't want to happen was him be paralyzed with perfectionism, because now that people have an expectation of his music, like, oh, he's getting better, like it's good. He didn't want that to allow him to be paralyzed to not make any more music in the future. And so like when he said that, I'm like, yo, you struggle with this too? You know what I mean? Like you go through this too? And for him, again, like him not wanting to be, again, be stuck in perfectionism, that made sense. Like, I'm like, so no matter how famous you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter any of that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people still struggle with the same fear. How can I top this? How can I top that? And unfortunately, sadly, like you see in the news and stuff like that, like you've heard about it, you've seen it, where actors, like writers, right? People drink themselves to death because they're like, I will never be able to create anything as good as what I did because now I'm found out. Now people recognize me as this writer, actress, filmmaker, whatever. And now I have to live up to their standards. And so you go from creating art just because you love it. You go from creating art because it makes you feel good, because it's moving other people, to now trying to prove to other people that you're good enough. And so whenever you try to prove to someone else that you're good enough, you're never going to feel good enough, because people's opinions are always changing. People change their minds. They're so fickle, right? They can never be pleased. We can never be pleased. Like nothing we do is good enough. Nothing anybody does is good enough. And then we think that once we have it, okay, this person likes this, right? Then they change their mind. And so then you're never at peace. You're never really making stuff that you want to make. You're never really being who you want to be. And again, that's why I feel like it's really important for you to get friends that actually know you and love you no matter what you create. Like if I never sang another note, my friends are going to love me because they love me. Not, sure, they love my art, but that art does not define who I am, And so again, for these artists, unfortunately, maybe they didn't have people around them that were like, hey, you're worthy without doing all this extra stuff. And so because of that, unfortunately, they off themselves because they're like, I can't live up to people's standards. There's a Bible verse that I've talked about before. I can't remember the reference, but if you Google it, it'll pop up, where it says, the opinions of other people or the fear of man is a snare. And what is a snare? A snare is a trap, right? It's a trap. Like trying to Endlessly please people will leave you feeling like garbage. You will always feel like garbage. You will not win. There's no way that you can win. And I really, I've read that verse over and over and over again. And at first I'm like, okay. Like, you read over Proverbs and it's like, I think it's Proverbs. You read over Proverbs and you're like, okay. Then you keep on reading. But it wasn't until I really considered like, fear of man is really a trap. Like, it really is here, like, to ensnare me. Thank you, Marcus. Proverbs 29:25. Change like the wind. Exactly. They sure do. People change their minds like the wind, okay? Like, I think of myself, like, amazing. Oh, yay. So I think of myself and how fickle I am, right? Like, one day I want Chick-fil-A. Tomorrow I'm not feeling Chick-fil-A. I need vegetables. I need something baked. You know what I'm saying? Like that, And unfortunately, for some people, like, they're trying to please these people who are never satisfied. I am never satisfied, okay? These people will never be satisfied. And I know that we want so badly. We want so badly to be accepted by everybody. And the thing is, when you try to be accepted by everybody, you lose yourself. So going back to the Bible verse about the approval of other people is a snare. Again, you think of birds. Ooh, I just gave myself shades. You think of birds. Maybe I'll do that. Why not? You think of birds, and I think of traps. Like, when I think of a snare, that's what I think of, birds and traps. And so these birds are lured down there by whatever food, I don't know. And so it looks appealing. It looks good. It looks delicious. And then once you get there, you're trapped. You're trapped before you know it. And I think for some people, like, it's like, ooh, their approval looks good. Their approval, you know what I'm saying? If I could be accepted by everybody, then I'd be good enough. Then I'd be wonderful. Then I would love myself, And then once you get there, you realize, oh, snap, I'm trapped. Now I got to keep pleasing these people, right? Now I got to keep changing like the wind, like Marcus said, right? Like, now I got to keep up this thing, this false identity to please these people. And it's like, what happens with that? Like, you're not who God intended you to be. You're not serving the people God intended you to serve because you're too busy trying to be like this person. Why is my face so different than the rest of this picture? But you're not, I'm going to make my arms a little darker. But yeah, you're not doing what God wants you to do. Or, oh, this is my color of my skin. It's shaded. It's all good. But yeah, like, you're not doing what God wants you to do because you're too busy trying to be approved by everybody. You're trapped, You're trapped. They got you. And I'm just not interested in being trapped anymore. I'm trying to free myself. And I know, listen, I'm a people pleaser, okay? I want everybody to be happy. And what I realized is that it was giving me anxiety attacks. Like, trying to please everybody will leave you sick. It will leave you sick. It will leave you, like, confused. And then when they leave, you're like, I did everything they wanted me to do. Like, it will have you thinking that you're the problem, that you're not good enough. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes maybe you are the problem, right? If you did something horrible, but if you're just being yourself, like, without harming anybody, like, it will have you thinking, someone's rejection will have you thinking that, it's you, like nobody likes you. And, it's not true, or that you're not enough, I should say. And that's not true. So I'm a recovering people pleaser. I still struggle. I still be trying to please everybody to my own detriment. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that I have people in my life that kind of set their own boundaries and therefore make it okay for me to set mine too. Right? So, like, so my friend, I don't know why my arms are so light in this. I have no idea. Okay. But, like, my friend Marcus, right? Like, he's on here. He's very clear about his boundaries. No, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, thank you. Like, thanks for thinking of me, but I think I'm going to pass. and that being okay. And so him doing that made me feel free enough to do that, right? Like him setting his boundaries and saying, that sounds like fun, but I'm tired or whatever it is. Like, and it's like, what? The world didn't end? People didn't kill him? Like, he's still alive? Yes, Shades. Yes. Insert Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. It's a trap. Yes. And my husband's really good at that too, setting his boundaries and being like, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. No thank you. And with the same thing again, with our art, I feel like we can be like, I hear your opinion about my art, and I still set the boundary to say, no thanks. Does that make sense? Like, you can still say, I hear that you think that I'm a horrible person because of the art I make, right? And to that I say, thank you for your opinion. However, I'm still going to make my art. I'm still going to do my thing. I'm still going to promote what I'm sharing, because if you think it's good enough to promote, if you feel like God gave you something to promote, right? Promote it. It's not gross. Like, it's people on here every day sharing the stuff that they're doing, and they don't care. Like, they're really just like, they're brave enough to be like, I like this, guys. I like it. What y'all think? My hair looks a little crazy, but it was a little shorter then. Anyway, but like, these people are brave enough, and I admire them, right? Despite what people say, people want to clown them and all this other stuff. That's cute. But like, at the end of the day, you're not putting it out there. They are. Like, they're brave enough to do the thing. And if for nothing else, right, they get my stamp of approval because of that. While we're too busy, like, oh, I know, like, am I good enough to do this thing? They're like, I'm doing this thing. And from doing it messy, from failing, the thing is, you might fail, right? That's the truth. The thing is, you might suck at it. It's okay, right? But the thing is, everybody sucks at something at first. I always say this. You have to suck before you're good at it. It's just is what it is. And people want to skip the sucking part. They want to skip, the being embarrassed. And the people who don't like you will unfollow you. It hurts, especially if they're your friends or whatever. Like, it always hurts my feelings when I realize, wait, you weren't following me, or you unsubscribed, or whatever it is, because you value their relationship, right? But at the end of the day, that still shouldn't stop me from, because of one person and their opinion of me, or whether they, desired to follow me or not, or to support it or whatever, or whether they felt like my art was worth supporting, that still shouldn't stop me from creating my art. That still shouldn't stop you from creating your art and sharing it. Let's see what we got here. It's a little sideburny, but that's okay. So I hope I'm making sense. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I hope that you can resonate with what I'm saying. Will I still struggle with advertising, self-promotion, and, feeling worthy enough to put my thing out there? Yes, I will. But my goal is that, in spite of feeling that way, that I still do the thing, that I still put it out there, that I still share it, right? Because I want to believe that God's not going to have me looking dumb out here. I want to believe that what I have to offer is valuable, right? Like, I want to believe that. And I feel like we are all supposed to impact somebody. And it might be 1 million people. It might be one person. And I know that sounds really cheesy and like idealistic, like, oh, if you impact one person, that's enough. But I mean, it's real. Like, one person, when someone messages me and says, I like what you did, and it really resonated me and encouraged me to keep going, that is everything. That is everything. Like, making $1 million with my music couldn't do that. It could not do that. It couldn't do that. Would it be nice to make $1 million? Sure. But again, I want $1 million so that I can give it to other people, and not so I can just keep it myself. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, I felt like I had to have more and do more to be deemed as worthy. But I feel like God wants us to use what we already have access to, what we already have. Like, again, we talked about before, like perfectionism and how there's no perfect moment to do something. You just do it. Like, again, there's another Bible verse. Listen, they be on it. There's another Bible verse that says, a man who, again, I'm paraphrasing, I'm probably going to butcher it, but a man who looks at, okay, a man waiting for perfect weather will never sow. Again, this is like the Alicia paraphrase version. A person who waits for perfect conditions will never sow, and a man who watches every cloud will never reap, I believe. Y'all check me on this. But the idea is that, you know, there will never be a perfect time to do anything. It's either you're going to do it, it's do or die. You either do it or you don't. And my husband says you're wearing hater blockers in this pic. That's what you got to do sometimes when you're stepping out to be brave. Put blinders and blockers on. Baby, come on here with this. Because that's so true. I didn't even listen. Look at God, okay? And this was an accident. But it's true. To this point, I want to say before, like while we're wrapping up, to this point, you know, when you are starting an endeavor, when you're starting something new, it is good to protect. It is good to protect what you're doing. Okay, thank you, Marcus. Ecclesiastes 11:4. Thank you. So read that. People who wait for perfect conditions will never do anything because perfect conditions don't exist. Like, and there's always something that could happen. There's always something that could go wrong. There's always something that will go wrong, right? But it's up for us to still be like, okay, in spite of this, I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to do. And so, yeah, like, again, to Jamal's point or Jay's point about putting on blockers or blinders, it's really important for us to focus on the mission. Focus on the mission. Like, when you put out your poetry, your photography, your art, who are you trying to impact? Think about that person, not these other people in the periphery who just kind of like they're watching, like they're, you know, they're people, so respect them. But at the same time, if they're not your intended audience, if they're not your intended people, then why are we so gung-ho on trying to please all these people in the periphery when really the people we're trying to impact are right here? You know what I'm saying? And so there was advice given by Minister Kim Jordan. She's an artist. And she told me, like, you got to put on your blinders. Put on your blinders and focus. Of course, there's somebody revving their engine outside, but put on your blockers and focus. Put on your blinders and focus because this world is so distracting. Trying to please everybody else is very distracting. Trying to be everything for everybody is going to distract you from the mission you were put here to do. And so that's my message to you guys. Just keep on doing the thing. The fear of, again, I hope that what I said made sense, but the fear of self-promotion, I feel like maybe will never go away, but I feel like in spite of feeling that fear, we should still create anyway. That's the whole point. Like, still put yourself out there because what you have, what you created, one is a gift from God, right? And so you should use that gift to share with other people. He doesn't just want us to keep the gifts for ourselves. He wants us to put it out there. And I feel like it's the enemy's job to be like, it sucks, don't do it. You know, like, you suck. People are gonna, you know, hate you and throw you away. And in some cases they might, right? But again, like the question we asked earlier, is the need to please other people greater than the need to create, the need to share? And if the answer is no, like if it's worth the risk it. Take that risk, you know? Do the things. Like people say, we only got one life. And you know, when I'm 85 laying in my bed, will the opinions of people who didn't want to see my stuff or listen to my stuff, will I still be thinking about that at 85? Hopefully, let's say 120, when, you know, hopefully, you know, whatever. When I'm 120 and I'm laying in my bed, will I be thinking, dang, such and such girl, 25, what she said about my project really hurt my feelings? Probably not. The benefit of people being older is that they don't care. I cannot wait until I get to that place where I'm just like, okay, like, whatever, you can't hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? I think about my great grandmother. She had no teeth, okay? And she didn't care that she didn't have no teeth. Like, just having that, like, confidence in herself and, like, that was really encouraging to me. And so older people who are like, I've been there, done that, I don't care. Your opinions mean nothing. They have it right. Like, they have it right. Older people and kids don't care until you tell them that they have to care. In a lot of ways, we have to become children again to be like, and again, check out PJ Morton, Kid Again. It's amazing. The song, it's about that. But we have to be children again to be able to dream freely. They have it right. They have the freedom. They have the juice. And older people have the juice. It's this middle, like, this awkward place that we are in life where we're like questioning everything we're doing. What does my life mean? What is it? You know, and at the end of the day, these opinions don't matter. The money doesn't matter. Like, what matters is the impact you have on people, is your community, is the love, is the support. Like, that's the stuff that really matters. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come, not that toothless confidence. Come on, come through, Granny. Yes, I'm trying to tell you, she did not care. She didn't care, and she's encouraging to me even now, even though she's not with us anymore. That's still encouraging to me because I'm like, okay, sis had it right. She had everything. She had love. She had everything, and she, again, walked through the world unbothered and unfazed. And so if my great grandmother can do that, I can do that. I can show up here and make art. I can talk to you guys in a camera. You know what I'm saying? And she was born 1912, right? So life for her was very different. We struggled with very different things. And with the privilege that I have today, and it's something that I carry with me, the privilege that I have today that she didn't have back then, I have to stand in that confidence. Like, I have to speak for people who didn't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? For the people who came before me, who couldn't share their art and their music. They were singing. My grandmother, like, was singing, but it wasn't a thing for her to, like, become like an artist. You know what I'm saying? But she was an artist. And so for the people who came before me, who gave me this platform, this place to be myself, I gotta be myself. I gotta be confident, right? Like, they're not gonna kill me. I'm not gonna die. You know, it might feel like social death, but I'm not gonna die. And so that's my whole point. Again, I hope this was helpful. We went a little longer than we usually do, but it was good. I like this conversation. And this is what we ended up with, you guys. Yay! I think it looks kind of cool. But yes, thank y'all so much for watching. Thanks for being here, for talking to me. Thanks for interacting. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one going on. Shout out to Marcus for all the biblical references. Check it out, Ecclesiastes 11:4 and Proverbs 29:25. And really sit with that. Like, the fear of man is a trap, and those who wait for perfect conditions never sow. Those who watch every cloud never reap. When are you gonna live your life? That's the question. When are you gonna do the thing? And with promotion, what I've said to myself, if I'm proud of it, it's good enough to share. If I like it, it's good enough to share. If I feel good about what I did, if I feel good about what I'm doing, it's good enough. It's good enough, and that's all the validation you need. Do you like it? Okay, put it out there, post it. People posting everything they want to post. You can post your thing too, or email it, or whatever it is that you want to do, you know? Do the thing and be proud of yourself, because you're worthy of being proud of. So, and your worth is not based on what other people say about you anyway. Okay. So again, thank you for spending this time with me. I can go on and on and on. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, I will talk to you soon. I'll probably come tomorrow to make music. I'm a day late with everything, but that's okay. So again, thank you for spending time. Your time is precious. You are precious. You're worthy. You're born worthy. Keep making this stuff. Keep sharing. And I'll see you guys here next time. Bye.